Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on Delay. You know, sometimes this thing records nicely, sometimes not. Now, I think when I have the power cord, watch me pull the power cord off when the whole thing shut down. Anyway, I didn't curse, thank God. So, I've been having some, I already knew that a preservative called BHT wasn't a good thing. It's in my favorite cereal, my son's favorite cereal. Well, maybe not his favorite cereal. It's the one that I introduced him to, so it's my fault. So, his favorite cereal, basically, I guess you could call it. I introduced it to him, so that's the cereal that we have. It's called Banana Nut Crunch by Post Cereals. So they use BHT as a preservative. It's a processed food. They wanted to have a long shelf life. They put a preservative in it. Kellogg's and General Mills, they use vitamin E as a preservative. Not that vitamin E sounds much better to my conscience than BHT. So there's a few things. There's BHT BHA, and they have another one called TBHQ. Now, all of these are, BHT. Well, TBHQ is petroleum derived. I'm not sure about the other ones. But when I think about them, I think about BPA, which BPA is a petroleum-based thing. TBHQ is synthesized from petroleum also. But you got BHA, BHT, TBHQ. Those are the ones on my radar right now. These things cause liver damage. These things cause you to have these preservatives cause you to have also food allergies. Also cause you to develop food allergies. Or this gas station is out of business or something. They also cause you to develop food allergies. So I get some more time to record. They are attributed to cancer, and they're also endocrine disruptors. It's so disheartening that something that I enjoy so much I have to give up. But it's just like drugs, I bought some. General Mills has a cereal called Keto. It tastes like cardboard, and it doesn't contain any BHT or TBHQ or any of that stuff. It has a lot of natural stuff in it. Unfortunately, it tastes so bad, so it's that's the thing about it. But I'm gonna pause for a second because I gotta do something, and then I'm gonna put some gas in this car. Unfortunately, petroleum based. I'm getting exposure. All right, y'all, just hang on. Thank you. Hey, so unfortunately, my car is gonna make a whole bunch of beeps because I'm gonna start it up, and I'm low on antifreeze, low on gas, low on a lot of stuff. It's gonna go beep, 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 beep all day. So, what I was talking about is BHT, BHA, TBHQ. All of these things are, they're not good for us. If it's a preservative in the food, when it gets in your body, what is it gonna do? Now, I was watching a YouTube channel. I'm sorry for the noise. Come on. I was watching a YouTube channel. I think it's called Worship and Food and something like that. So, what's going on? What the lady was saying, she also added lecithin to one of the ingredients, soy lecithin, to a bunch of things that are not good for us. She hydrogenated oils, fractioned oils, all of these processed foods, all these processed ingredients, and what the thing about it is, we ended up encountering these things because of just I want to say laziness, but that might hurt my feelings. That hurts my feelings too. But I'm gonna call it laziness. I like to go to extremes. But well, let's call it convenience. If if you don't like the word laziness, let's use the word convenience. So we have an issue. We're encountering these things because of convenience. I can jump up in the morning and pour my son some cereal, and then we can go. And he has something, in his stomach so he can kind of focus on his work. But some of these things even cause hyperactivity at the same time. Probably, I don't know. ADHD, it's potential that these things can cause ADHD and hyperactivity. No, not these specific ingredients. Oh, boom. Yeah. So, no, these things aren't associated with ADHD and hyperactivity. They're not to my knowledge, except for the sugar and the simple carbohydrates that are in the cereal itself. That all those carbohydrates and all those sugars that are in the cereal, those things can potentially cause you to have some hyperactivity, brain fog, and then a crash later on when the sugar, when your sugar levels drop. You know what I mean? So that's all about expediency and convenience, and as a result, I'm poisoning him basically, effectively, with these foods. So I'm on a crusade now. That's a terrible word to use at this time, but I'm on a journey to find something that is more that is healthier. We already eliminated the milk. First we had whole milk, then we switched to 2% because some of the proteins and the sugars in milk, we can't really digest like that. So and it causes all kind of complications. It's not even good for your pancreas it's not good for your kidneys, as I recently learned, to even drink milk anyway. So we switched to the almond milk, which what does that introduce? You know what I mean? What things does that introduce? So and sometimes we make breakfast from scratch too. Sometimes we make breakfast from scratch also, but most times it's either oatmeal or some made from scratch kind of pancakes thing, and we use whole wheat flour and stuff like that. But anyhow, I'm sorry. The preservatives, let's get back to those. Sodium. Oh, she mentioned in that YouTube channel sodium benzoate. And my professor in environmental studies and environmental controls, and this environmental controls is not dealing with environmental controls is not dealing with the environment like you would say plants and birds and stuff like that. Environmental controls more refers to HVAC systems where you're trying to keep a room cool or hot. But even though we weren't talking about those things, the professor, during his talks, he used to always tell us to avoid preservatives, sodium benzoate. And thanks to him, I stopped eating cold cuts, because I used to go to the bodega next to the college and buy a hero, when I had money. Yeah, when I started working, I had money to buy lunch. So I was working while I was going to college. So anyhow, I used to buy the cold cuts. The cold cuts are filled with sodium benzoate. And and I reached a point where I was eating it so much it caused me to have like a lesion in my nose, like a I don't even want to say that. That's a sketchy word. But I basically had something growing in my nose as a result of eating so much of the preservatives and whatever other ingredients they added to those cold cuts. Please stay away from those. The bolognas, the honey turkeys, the turkey, the whatever, all of the cold cut stuff. Stay away from that. It's not good for you. I know it's not good for me. I'm not tough enough to eat it. Some people may be able to eat it, but I can't. So otherwise, that's really all I gotta say. I don't really have much else to say about it. Watch out for those preservatives. If you go on my Twitter, I just posted the video from the lady who I was listening to, who was speaking about the TBHQ, BHA, BHT, and the sodium benzoate. And she also said something which I didn't really totally understand. She said sodium chloride is not salt. I didn't really understand what that means. Salt is NaCl. That's what we used in the lab. But I guess what she's saying is it doesn't contain maybe the trace minerals of what is typically mined or extracted or harvested from oceans type salt. You know what I mean? Anyhow, I'm not gonna delve into that because I haven't even really, I didn't understand what she meant by that, and I don't really have an opinion on that right now. Salt is definitely not good. It's not good for our endocrine, it's not good for our adrenal glands, which are right on top of our kidneys. So you gotta watch out for those. Did I mention that BHT BHA and TBHQ, especially TBHQ, which from my understanding was developed in 1996. I watched 2 videos this morning. So TBHQ, after its introduction, food allergies went up by a significant amount, something like, I don't know, 50% or something like that. So maybe the reason that we have these food allergies is due to these preservatives and stuff that we're eating that is interfering with our digestive system and, you know, our intestines and all of that. So anyhow, thank you for listening. I don't, you know, I'm all over the place, but, you know, hopefully it sparks or inspires you to go do some of your own research, or to just maybe avoid it altogether if you want to trust what I say. But you don't have to trust what I say. Look it up yourself. You know, these in conclusion, I will try to conclude. If you're eating something, if something is preserving and curing something, you know, like curing, like they used to cure my family. You know, we lived in a rural community, so sometimes my grandmother would cure pork. So how do you do that? So you slaughter the pig, you lather him up or you rub him up with pimento and other spices. You know, the spices help to kill bacteria and stuff like that. And then you hang it over a fire and you let the smoke get all over it, get into it, and the smoke basically preserves it and cures it. So now it has a way longer shelf life. You don't even have to refrigerate it. Of course, my grandmother was probably born in around 1908, around that time, and they never had refrigerators, so they had to adopt a similar survival strategy to that of people even in Eastern Europe, you know, where they have like bratwurst and sausages and cheese and all these things. All these things have a great shelf life because sometimes during the off season you can't get meat. During the off season you can't get high calorie foods. Nothing's wrong with high calories sometimes if you're using the energy. If you're exercising and using the energy, nothing's wrong with high calories. It's, you know, high input, high output, but we're not so active. But anyhow, so all of these the old school preservatives, like curing things with smoke, is probably something that she learned based on an Eastern European tradition. My family is not European at all. I am black. So, but you know what I mean? But anyhow, so this explains why salt was worth its weight in gold at one point. Because if you can cure food with salt, not only does it cure food, it also enhances flavor. So it's like a double bonus. You know, when you think about things like beef jerky, that's basically smoked meat. But you can also cure things with salt. Like in Scandinavian countries, they cure fish with salt. And where I'm from, Jamaica, we eat a lot of saltfish. Saltfish is not manufactured in Jamaica. Most of it comes from China or Iceland. So and since Jamaica was such a great pirate hub, it's a very international and eclectic culinary place. We have foods coming from Africa, India, China, Europe, and America, of course, and the West, and it's a very eclectic food. Culture. So things like saltfish, which is, really is poison, and things like smoked herring. These are things that came in on the ships. You know, the pirates needed food to last them throughout their trips and stuff like that. So they had cured foods anyhow. But anyhow, now we're in a society where we have refrigerators. It might not be necessary for us to cure and eat so much food with preservatives in it. But you know, we like our chips. I like my chips. I like my crackers. I like my cereal. I like my grains. I like my wheat. I like my breads. I like my cakes. Oh my goodness, yeah. Like when you think about a cake, if you bake a cake, that cake doesn't last a week, really. That cake should be eaten. Like if you get a birthday cake, and I said I was gonna include, right? But I'm still talking. So anyhow, so if you get a birthday cake, are you gonna take your birthday cake and eat it next week unrefrigerated? You would not. It would be rancid by that point. But we buy Entenmann's cakes. We buy these little muffins and all kind of stuff from the store. We buy these things from the store, and these cakes do not they stay on the shelf for weeks without going bad. And you know, I was just having a discussion with someone talking about McDonald's burgers, where they did the experiment where the burger, over something like, I don't know, a few years, it didn't deteriorate. It looked exactly as when it was purchased. It's filled with so many preservatives. And I'm not above eating all these, I'm not above eating all these poisonous things. I enjoy them. But unfortunately, you know, we got to realize that maybe some of these health conditions that we're suffering from, the allergies. Oh, I forgot to mention, TBHQ compromises your immune system. And you know that your immune system is heavily based on your stomach. And your stomach is your second brain. So it would explain why we have mental health issues. It would explain why we have allergies. It would explain why we have immune systems that are compromised as a result of consuming these poisons. And they're so delicious. They're magically delicious. I never liked Lucky Charms. Even though I like sugary things, I never liked Lucky Charms. I don't know why. Anyhow, my opinion doesn't really matter. Your health matters. Your health matters to you. My health matters to me. Your health matters to me too. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Unless you're a bad person that's, hurting people. Then maybe I want something bad to happen to you. I'm sorry. You already have PTSD. You're already issuing PTSD to other people. So why not? Why not you get to see yourself in the mirror? Anyhow, I'm digressing. Look at the ingredients. Vitamin E. The verdict is out on that one, but I use vitamin E in my products. I also use soy lecithin in my products. But they're not for consumption, they're for applying to your hair. You could probably eat it. All of these things are used as ingredients in food. But, the verdict is out on soy lecithin. And you know what? I was making a formulation last night for the first time in maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I haven't made any formulations in a while. So, what happened was, I broke one of my beakers, so I used a flask. And it's very hard to clean the flask when something's in it because, of the shape of the flask. But the reason why I used the flask because I was doing a water-based mixture inside the flask. I didn't want the water to evaporate. So, or not so much. But maybe that's not how a flask is used. Anyway, like a silly person, I put the soy lecithin mixture. Okay, I got cut off. I'm sorry. And I was in the middle of a thought. And I don't remember what it was. I was supposed to conclude 10 minutes ago. I forgot what I was trying to say now. I was talking about the allergies. These things contribute to allergies, obesity, compromised immune system. They're poisons. And it would, I think I was trying to say, it would explain our issues with mental health issues. They're also endocrine disruptors. We're poisoning ourselves, and it tastes so delicious that you're punishing yourself. So you gotta have a higher calling for why you're doing what you're doing. You can't just do it for the taste. You can't just do it for the feeling. And that applies across the board to things that we enjoy. We can't just necessarily do things because of how it makes you feel. Because in the feelings, because people like to say facts over feelings, right? But then we don't really live that. We're still eating garbage. We're still doing the wrong things, and we're still doing a lot of unsustainable things. The facts are sustainable. The facts are sustainability. Because if something is a fact, that means it probably in some conditions, in most conditions, doesn't change. Your emotions change. Now your cravings come and go, but the poison stays, right? Your craving for whatever dopamine or serotonin or whatever is hitting, whatever mental drug that's being released from your brain when you consume whatever it is, that is temporary. But you're being sick, it cuts years off of your life, for one thing. Illness ages you. Illness cuts off years of your life. So even look at Brian Johnson, he's trying to keep his organs healthy so that he can stay young. Every time you get sick, it's like you're losing years off your life. So you got to have a higher calling for why you're doing whatever you're doing. Whether if you're eating, the higher calling is your nutrition and your health. If you're having sex, your higher calling is to create a union between you and your partner, or to reproduce. If you're whatever you're doing, it has to be a higher calling that's sustainable, that's beyond just the gratification, the immediate gratification. And the strange thing is that the immediate gratification is what is designed into our brains. The brains are not designed for delayed gratification. Our system is an animal system, but we're trying to be we're trying to overcome and subdue and control, which is kind of bad when you use those words. I'm sorry to use those words, but that's all words I have right now. We're trying to subdue, control, tame, and domesticate the human animal. And that's all religion's been trying to do. And the scientists are trying to get around that. But they keep coming back to the fact that you got to have discipline. You got to try to control the animal if you want to have a sustainable, peaceful, non-animalistic behavior. Otherwise, you can just be an animal and then you can live to 33 years and then your teeth fall out and then we put you out to pasture and then you starve to death. Do you want to live that way, or you want to live in a society where we take care of each other and we put the prisoners in somewhere where they can live forever and they can live a long time and suffer out their punishment without having to lose their life, so on and so on and so forth? You want to be able to take care of the elderly, take care of the children and all that, then we have to be more sustainable. Otherwise, we're going to have to live like lions and tigers and bears. Sometimes they eat their young. Sometimes they attack each other based on territory. Well, we're still doing that, unfortunately. So we're still trying to tame this animal. But hey, you get what I'm saying. Thanks for listening.